If you want to hear her tale, you have to say her name. Chinye, Chinye, Chinye. Once there was a young girl called Chinye who lived in an African village with her stepmother, Adama. Chinye! Where is that lazy girl? And her stepsister, Nkeche. I'm so pretty, just look at me, so pretty. Adama and Nkeche lived in a large compound full of lots of huts, and they had lots of wealth, but they would share with no one. Chinye lived in a tiny hut behind their compound. She had very little, but would share with everyone. Now, Chinye's workday would look like this. Chinye! Fetch water, sweep floor, cut wood, wash clothes, make bread. Chinye! Plait my hair, dress me, feed me. Chinye! Chinye would have to work all the way through the day and finally finish late at night when she could crawl into her little hut and sleep. But her heart was open and she was full of joy. It was the day of the chief's party. Chinye! There is no water where water should be. You will go out of the village, along the path, through the wood, into the forest, into the jungle to fetch water from the river. You will go now. No one would go out to the river so late at night to fetch water, not even the bravest warrior. It was dark. There could be danger at each turn. Please, stepmama, do not send me out to fetch water so late at night. I will go in the morning. Please. You will go. So Chinye picked up her gourd and she journeyed out of the village, along the path, through the woods, through the forest, into the jungle to fetch water. And she journeyed and journeyed and journeyed. Oh, what was that? It was a shadow. She was scared. It's just a friendly antelope. She journeyed and journeyed. Oh, what was that? It was a shadow. It's just a hyena. Quick, hide, hide. There is a lion coming. Hide behind the tree. Do not say a word until he's passed. Chinye hid behind the tree and didn't move or say a word until the lion had gone past. Then she made it to the river and started to fill up her gourd with water. There was a hissing sound. Out of the river came a big snake that turned into a walking stick, and then an old lady. Why are you alone in this jungle so late at night? Chinye told her story. The old woman took pity on her and said, you are a brave, kind girl. Fill your gourd with water and journey home. You will hear the sound of drumming. Follow it to the hut. Inside of the hut, there will be gourds of all shapes and sizes. Some of them will be really loud. Listen to the quietest sound coming from the smallest gourd. Find that, take it home, and open it when you are alone. Chinye thanked the old lady, picked up her gourd with water, and she journeyed and journeyed. She soon heard the sound of the drumming, found herself inside of the hut, and she closed her eyes to listen keenly for the quietest drumming sound. And she found the smallest gourd. She placed it in her clothes, picked up her gourd of water, and journeyed out of the jungle, through the woods, through the forest, to the path, back to the village. When she finished her work, she went back into her tiny hut and opened the tiny gourd. Out of the gourd came gold, silver, diamonds, precious stones, a magical cooking pot, silks, fabrics, and wealth of all descriptions. She ran and told her stepmother. Adama listened keenly to every word Chinye said. Then she woke up her own daughter. Nkeche, quick, wake up. You will go out of the village, through the jungle, to fetch water from the river. You will do exactly as Chinye did. But when you find the hut, you will pick the loudest, biggest gourd and bring it back here. We deserve more than Chinye. We deserve more than anyone. Nkeche left the village with her gourd, went along the path. She went through the forest, through the woods and found herself in the jungle. When she heard this first animal, she pretended to be scared. Then when she saw the hyena, she pretended to be scared. She did hide behind the tree when the lion went past. She really was scared. When she got to the river, she didn't bother filling up the water into the gourd. She saw the snake, didn't bother her. But when the old lady appeared out of the walking stick, she told her story. She then ran to the hut and she found the biggest, largest gourd that she could find. And she took that all the way back to the village, making noise as she went. When she arrived in the village, everyone woke up. They found her and Adama trying to break open the gourd with stones. The gourd cracked open. Whoosh! Out of it came this wind that went straight up into the sky, taking with it all of their possessions. It took the whole compound, all of their gold, their money, their wealth, their clothes, leaving them with nothing, just in the undies they were standing in. The village tried to help. They said no, and Adama and Nkechi left that night, never to be seen again. Chinye shared all of her wealth with the rest of the village. No one was ever in need or want again, and she had found her new family. She found a new family, so why don't you sing with me? Chinye, Chinye, Chinye. Once there was an old mother goat who had 7 kids, and she loved them with all her heart, just as much as any mother loves her children. One day she had to go into the forest. Gather round, little kids. I need to leave you to go into the forest so you'll be all alone. But please be careful of the wolf. Because if the wolf gets in here, he will devour you all, skin, hair, and everything. Now, the wolf disguises himself, but you will know him by his rough voice and his black feet. So be careful. Do you hear me? We hear you, Mom. You've got nothing to worry about. We will take good care. The old goat kissed each of her kids, and she felt in her heart and head that all will be well. So she left to go into the forest. Soon, the wolf came and knocked on the door. Open the door, little kids. It's your mother here, and I've brought something for each of you. The kids laughed. You're not our mother. She has a soft voice. Yours is rough. You are the wolf. The wolf howled, "Woo!" and made his way back to the village, where he went straight to the shopkeeper, bought some chalk and ate it. Because the chalk turned his rough voice into soft. He went again to the goat's house and knocked on the door for the second time. Open the door, little kids. It's your mother here, and I've brought something for each of you. The wolf rested his paw against the window. When the kids saw his black paw, they cried, "Ah, our mother does not have black feet like you. You're not our mother, you're the wolf." The wolf howled again, "Woo!" and made his way all the way back to the village and went straight in to the baker's. "I've hurt my paws. Can you rub just a little bit of flour or dough on them, please? The dough." The baker rubbed dough on all of his paws. The wolf went to the miller and said, "Can you put some white meal on my paws for me?" Now, the miller is always suspicious of the wolf and said, "No, Mr. Wolf, I know you. You are trying to trick someone. The answer is no." The wolf howled, "Ooh! Do it, or I will devour you." How white do you want them to be? The miller made the wolf's paws as white as snow. The wolf went back to Goat's house and knocked for a third time. "Open the door, little kids. It's your mother here. I've come back from the forest with something for each of you." How do we know if you're our mother?" Show us your paws and then we will know." The wolf placed each of his paws against the window. They were as white as snow. The kids saw this, they believed him, and they opened the door. They were terrified. It was the wolf. They hid under the table, in the bed, in the cupboard, in the stove, under the wash basin, in the kitchen cupboard, in the clock case. But the wolf found them all really easily, under the table, in the bed, in the stove, in the cupboard, under the wash basin, in the kitchen cupboard, and he swallowed them whole. Only the youngest kid, hiding in the clock case, did he not find. The wolf was now full. He left Goat's house, and he walked and walked and walked, came to a meadow, found a tree, and fell fast asleep. Goat arrived home. What a sight she saw! Door left wide open, chairs, tables, benches all thrown down, wash basin broken into pieces, quilts and pillows pulled off the bed. She searched for her kids. She called them by their name. She couldn't find anyone until she heard, "Here." The youngest kid, Rose, was hiding in the clock case. She took her in her arms, hugged her, and ran out of the house as Rose told her all that the wolf had done. And as they ran and they ran, they came to a meadow, and soon they could see that the trees, the branches, were rustling with the sound of the snores of the wolf. Mother Goat went up to the wolf and saw that there was something pushing against his stomach. Could it be that my little kids that he swallowed for dinner are still alive? Rose, quick, needles, thread, and scissors. Rose was back in an instant. Mother Goat cut open the wolf's stomach. At the first cut, out popped the head of one of the kids. As she continued, all 6 of them jumped out of the wolf's stomach alive and well, because the greedy wolf had swallowed them whole. She told them to quickly gather the biggest 6 stones they could find. They placed the stones inside of the wolf's stomach. She sewed him back up before he could wake up. And they watched from a distance as the wolf woke up. He felt thirsty, because if you eat stones, that will happen to you. He got up and he walked to the well. Now, as he walked, he thought, what's rumbling and tumbling against my poor bones? I thought I ate 6 kids, but it feels like 6 stones. He got to the well. He put his head over to get some water, but because of the stones, he lost his balance and he tumbled into the well. You could hear him, "Oh, what rumbles and tumbles against my poor bones? I thought I ate 6 kids, but it feels like 6 stones, 6 stones, 6 stones. I'm drowned for 6. Bloop, bloop." And no one ever heard from the wolf again. Once there was a kind, hard-working, generous shoemaker who lived with his wife above their shop. Now, their shop was once busy and bustling, but now it was empty and bare. They had fallen upon hard times and couldn't earn a living. All that he had left was enough leather to make 1 pair of shoes. I can't believe that it's come to this. This is the last pair of shoes that I will ever make. I better make them good. He sat and cut the leatherwork out, left it on the table, and meant to rise early in the morning to finish his last pair of shoes. He woke up the next day, came down, and imagine his surprise when he saw not pieces of leather, but a perfectly finished pair of shoes. "Wife, is you do this?" "Not I," she said. "How could this be? Who could have done this for we? Look how beautiful they are, not a stitch out of place. We have truly been blessed. Whoever did this, we should thank them." The shoemaker placed the shoes in the shop window. They were soon bought by a very wealthy gentleman who paid more than they were worth. The shoemaker had enough money to buy food and to buy leather to make 2 more pairs of shoes. He sat at the table, cut out the leather work, left it at the table overnight, and planned to wake early in the morning to make his last 2 pairs of shoes. When he came down, imagine his surprise and luck. There he found 2 pairs of perfectly made shoes. He called his wife. They examined the shoes, saying, "Look how beautiful they are, not a stitch out of place. Whoever did this, we have truly been blessed, and we should thank them." They placed the shoes in the window of the shop and waited. Soon, they were bought by a young couple who were going to use them for their marriage, and they paid double what they were worth. The shoemaker now could buy enough leather to make 4 pairs of shoes. He sat down, cut out the leather work, left the pieces on the table, and went to bed. Can you guess what happened when he woke up? He came down, and there were 4 perfectly made pairs of shoes. He and his wife said with joy, "Look how beautiful they are, not a stitch out of place. We have truly been blessed. Whoever did this, we must thank them." They placed the shoes again in the front window of the shop, and they were bought. This happened day in and day out. The shop was now bustling and busy with people, and yes, the shoemaker and his wife had become wealthy. Soon it was Christmas time. They sat one evening warming their hands by the fire, thinking of how lucky they were. And then his wife said, "I would really like to see who it is who has helped us to get all of this wealth. I think we should stay up." "That is a very good idea. We will stay up tonight. We can hide behind the curtain, leave a little light on and the light from the fire, and we will see." That's what they did. 12 o'clock came. The door thrust open, and in came what can only be described as 2 elves. They moved quickly and swiftly and sang as they danced around the table. "We are elves, you never seen nothing like we. We fast and quick, and our fingers work for free. Our fingers work for free." They sat and started to work, and they sewed, and they rapped, tap, 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 tap. They sewed, so fast, and they rapped, tapped, tapped. And then, way before sun rose in the sky, they had finished row upon row of perfectly made shoes with not one stitch out of place. And they left almost as quickly as they had come. "Well, I've never seen anything like that. Look how beautiful the work is, and they work so fast." Indeed, they did work very fast, and the shoes are splendid. But did you not see that they did not even have one piece of clothing on their backs to keep them warm in this cold winter night? That is what I will do. I shall make each of them a shirt, waistcoat, pantaloons, and overcoat to say thank you for all that they have done for us. That is a very good idea, and I will make the finest pairs of shoes that I have ever made, just to show them how grateful I am. The shoemaker and his wife worked carefully and lovingly to complete the 2 outfits. When they were ready, they placed them on the table. Instead of the leather, you had the shirts, the waistcoats, the pantaloons, the overcoats, and the shoes. They went for a second time, the shoemaker and his wife, to hide behind the curtain. 12 o'clock came, and into the room came the elves as quickly and swiftly as they had before. They sat down, ready to sew. When they saw the outfits on the table, they let out a sound of pure joy. They changed in the blink of an eye, and then they danced around the table. "We are elves, and now we are free. We have new clothes, and we looking fancy. No more work for we, no more work for we. We have new clothes, We're fancy and we're free. And with that, they danced out of the shop, far, far, far into the distance. The shoemaker and his wife never saw the elves again, but they never forgot them or what they had done for them. The shoemaker and his wife became very, very wealthy. Their business thrived, and they always had enough to make sure that they could live together happily ever after.